Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, it will be fantastic if you click that button and subscribe to our channel. On the menu today, we're going to be making a moussaka. Now, before I get loads and loads of emails from people, there are so many ways of making this dish. For example, in Turkey, as far as I understand, it's not layered at all like this. In the Balkans, you know, they use beef or pork and some yogurt maybe. I think in Romania they even add some cabbage. Israel make it completely different again. In the Levant or the Middle East, it's often served cold. In Egypt, again, a different vibe in Egypt, again, the way it's made. Some people don't use sliced potatoes, some people use mashed potatoes, some people put breadcrumbs on the top, some people don't. Like I say, this is the version that we're going to make, so peace and love to you all. No need to send me loads and loads of comments about it. This is our version. All I do know is it tastes fantastic. Let's go and do it. Okay, so without getting really long-winded and making this video really long, let me just talk about these two guys first. I've already prepared these. So I've got some potatoes here, which I've peeled my potatoes and parboiled them in a little bit of salt water. If you want, you can leave the skin on. You know, I've kind of cut them about that thick. But again, that's up to you. So they're fairly hard still. You know, they've still got a bit of body to them. I don't want to overcook them because we are going to cook them later. And here are my eggplant or aubergine. And again, I've cut them roughly about the same size, like that, with the skin on, and I've fried these in oil. Now, some people, what they do is they will roast these in a tray. You know, you can put them in a baking tray, roast them off, and do the same with them. I find it gets a little bit oily like that, so I like to boil my potatoes, parboil them, and fry these guys in a pan in oil. So that's just that out the way. I don't want to spend loads of time showing you how to peel potatoes and cut potatoes, and the same with eggplant. They're two of our four main ingredients. The other two, of course, we're going to make a bechamel sauce or a white sauce, and of course we're going to make our meat, our minced. I'm using minced beef today. So let's go and do those guys. Once we've got those four components together, then we can chuck it all together. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. So we're going to start off by making our meat sauce here. In here I've got a touch of oil. I'm using the sunflower oil today, but you could use some olive oil maybe, that might be nice. Simply, I'm heating that up, that's getting nice and hot. And now I'm going to drop in my meat. I'm using the minced beef. And to this I'm going to add a couple of bay leaves. And today I'm going to use just a little bit of rosemary. I just feel like rosemary today, but you could use thyme or maybe a touch of marjoram or oregano. Play around with that. Touch of salt. We've got some black pepper here. And at this stage, we just want to cook our beef just for about 3 to 4 minutes. It will change colour completely. If you wanted, you could add some garlic. I don't fancy adding garlic to my moussaka. I don't like garlic in there, but lots of people do. So if you fancy that, go for it. So let me just brown this off. It's only going to be like 2 or 3 minutes. Then I'll be back. Just a few minutes. Now, if you can use bay leaves like I've done, we need to fish them out later, so don't forget. Now I'm going to add some onion. I'm using a red onion, but you could use white or brown. And again, I've cut that nice and small. And on this kind of medium heat that I'm on at the moment, let's continue just cooking this for about another 3 minutes. As you can see, our onions are changing colour and our meat's cooking really well. At this stage I'm going to add You see, I've got a little bit of nutmeg. We're going to be adding some more nutmeg to our bechamel as well. But I like just a little bit in there. Some people also put cinnamon. You'll find a lot of recipes where they'll add a stick of cinnamon into this. Now I've got here some tomato concentrate paste or puree, whatever you call it. And that's going to go in. Yeah, like 3 or 4 of that size spoon. And I just like to work this in. And again, we're going to cook this on a kind of medium to high heat for about 2 minutes, stirring all the time. I'm now going to fish out these bay leaves. There's a large one there, another one here. Take a look in there, see if there's any more. There you go. Out she comes. Oops, there she goes. So we've got some wonderful flavours going on here. A little bit dry this, so I'm now going to add, here I've got a can of, or a tin of tomatoes, plum tomatoes, and I've roughly chopped them. Now I'm going to add a little bit in. I'm not going to add the whole lot, so probably about half a can. That looks great. I don't want this too wet, you know. Some people would add, you know, a lot more liquid to it, but I like it just like this. Now what I'm going to do is turn that heat down. I'm really low at this point now. Just let that go for about 7 minutes and stir often. Okay, this is cooked perfectly for me. I like that consistency. And like I say, if you wanted to add a different herb, like some thyme, or even some fresh dill maybe, something like that, you go ahead and do that. Today I just used a touch of rosemary and the bay leaf with that little bit of nutmeg. I like that. So this is the third part done. So we've got our eggplant done, our potatoes are done, our meat's done. We now need to make a bechamel or a white sauce, which we're going to add some eggs to as well. Let's go and do that. So I've got a tiny little pan here, because we're not going to be making a lot of this sauce at all. I don't need a lot. And I've got like a tablespoon of an unsalted butter in there, which, as you can see, we're melting. Simply what we're going to do is we're going to make a roux, which is we're going to add a little bit of flour to this and cook that flour. Then we're going to add some milk. So let's go. So about 2 to 1 at the moment. Let's just get that in there. Start to cook in there. That's plenty in there. That's enough. So like I say, I've got 1 tablespoon of unsalted butter and 2 of a plain flour. And we're simply going to cook this. I like to cook mine for a long time. Otherwise you get really, you're going to get a really floury tasting sauce. I like to cook it nice and sort of slow and gentle. And what we're going to get is a kind of short crust kind of smell, like a biscuit kind of smell and taste if you grab hold of it. So let's just do this and keep stirring this all the time. This is going to be done, I reckon, in about 2 to 3 minutes. I'll see you then. So as I'm sure you can see, well I hope you can see, this has changed colour somewhat, starting to brown, and we've got a beautiful biscuity, like a buttery biscuity kind of smell. So now we know that we're not going to end up with a horrible floury tasting sauce. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some milk to it. I'm going to add cold milk. Some people swear by it has to be warm or hot. Cold's fine for me. So in we go, let's do it. There's like a cup there. Now what will happen is, you need to start stirring quite vigorously, guys. What's going to happen is it's going to really thicken. As the heat gets through that, you'll see it. There you go. It's going to sort of turn into a real ball with that cup. So what we need to do now, same again, let's get some more milk in there. Decanter some into a, that's quite a lot of flour in there. That roux's going to produce quite a bit. So here we go, one more. Mix that. So you know the consistency we're looking for. You know what the white sauce consistency is. I want it fairly thick actually. And you need to stir and stir and stir because we don't want any lumps in there. There's nothing worse than a lump of cooked flour in your sauce. So again, I'm going to add some more milk to this. We're on a very low heat and we're going to really keep stirring this. I'm really not going to take my eye off this for a moment now. And we're going to end up with a desired effect. While I'm here, just take a look there. I'm going to drop in a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper and a little bit of nutmeg. Just a little pinch of each. Probably a little bit more of the nutmeg. If you used a salted butter, maybe hold back on adding any more salt. So again, I'm going to just keep adding milk and keep cooking this until I've got the consistency that I'm happy with. Keep stirring it, guys, and I've got rid of all of those lumps. I think this is going to take me about another 5 minutes. I may add a little bit more milk or I may not. Let's see. Keep stirring, fellas. There we are, that's great. Just to let you guys know, I didn't add any more milk to that. I just kept stirring it and it's beautifully smooth and it tastes wonderful. Now that's the bechamel sauce, that's done. So bechamel sauce is done. Our meat's done, our potatoes are done, and our eggplants or aubergines are done. What we need to do with this now, because this is a regular bechamel, but we're going to add eggs to it. You wouldn't add eggs to a regular bechamel sauce. I need that just to sit down and cool down a little bit, because I've got a couple of eggs here that I've beaten, but I don't want to put them in now because they're just going to cook. I don't want them to cook immediately. So let that just rest a little bit. What I am going to do, which I love to do, so I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to get rid of this, put our meat back, and I'm going to add just a little bit of this white sauce now to our meat. Just a little touch. Let's do that. So here we go. There's our meat sauce. And I'm literally going to, just that little touch there, as you can see. I like that in there. Let's give that a little mix. I mean, like a lasagna, once this all kind of does get layered up, it is going to kind of squish down into each other anyway. That is completely optional. Lots of people don't do that. I just like to do it. Okay, so the next thing for us to do is to get our baking tray or oven dish together, and we can start layering this up, and then we're going to add, time that our white sauce cools down, we'll add our eggs. Okay, so as you can see right there, I'm using a Pyrex or a glass baking dish, but you could use a ceramic one, a metal one, that's up to you, kind of all work the same. I've started off by putting some potatoes in, and I'm now going to put in some of our eggplant or aubergine, whatever you guys call that. Then we're going to go in with some of our meat sauce. And let's do a few more potatoes. Like I say, to me it doesn't really matter how you line this up now, what layers they go in, because it all does kind of cook down, you know, once it's in the oven. It'll just become a delicious mess, quite frankly. It will kind of congeal together. And that's kind of what we're looking for. There you go, there's my last of my potatoes. I am again going to go with some eggplant. Some meat sauce. I'm quite happy that our meat sauce is fairly dry. Feel quite good about that. I'm putting a generous layer on now. I'm just finishing off what we've got. There you go. I've got a few more aubergines here which I'm just going to scatter around. That's me done. I'm just going to clean this up, then we'll get on to the next step. So let me just move that aside and introduce in our white sauce, which is still steaming. I mean, it's still quite hot, but not boiling. And like I said, I've got a couple of eggs there that I'm going to put in, and then I'm just going to fold them in. Again, guys, some people will insist that you use egg yolks. Some people will say that you have to use egg whites. I like to use whole eggs. There you go, that's looking beautiful. Okay, let's replace our Mousaka back. And then I like to give this a nice, generous amount of sauce. Without going crazy. I'm already right at the top here of my dish. I can squeeze a little bit more in. We don't want to go mad though, because it will actually rise a little bit with that egg in there. That looks fantastic. So I'm just going to top that off with a little bit of nutmeg again, ground nutmeg. If you wanted, you could add some cheese. In fact, I think I might just stick a little bit of cheddar cheese or mozzarella on that and make it nice. But you could just put it in the oven just like this and it will cook. But yeah, I'm going to put some cheese on that. Give me a second, I'll grab some. So here we go. I've just got a little bit of grated mozzarella. But you could put some cheddar on there, or stick a bit of parmesan on if you want. And again, don't forget, you don't have to put any cheese on that. Now, this may appear to some to be quite dry, this whole layering system I've done. I'm just going in with a bit more nutmeg. Can't get enough of that for this dish. But that's just how I like it. I like it kind of fairly dry-ish. I don't like it, you know, loads of the bechamel sauce inside. I don't like a really wet meat sauce either. I like it just how we've done it. Play around with it and get it exactly how you like that, guys. So this is all ready. Now don't forget, everything inside is cooked. Potatoes are already cooked, eggplant cooked, meat sauce we've done, and the bechamel. What we're doing now is bringing it together and just to get the eggs cooked inside that bechamel. All ovens are different. I always say this to you guys. So in my oven, that's going to go in the middle shelf, medium heat, or the middle heat that I have, and that's going to be in my oven for around about 30 minutes. I can't really give you any more clue than that really. Everything's cooked, bringing it together. Just got to just cook. I mean, that's enough time to cook that egg in there. I'll put a little bit of text up anyway so you can see what, you know, what I think it is. Gas mark this, gas mark that, whatever. Celsius and Fahrenheit. Right, that's going to go in the oven. Preheat your oven first though, that's quite important. Get your oven hot and then in it goes. I'll see you when that comes out. There you go guys, that was in my oven for like 30 minutes, that kind of medium-ish heat. Absolutely wonderful, it's got that beautiful colour on the top. What I suggest is you just leave that for a little while, let it settle down, and then it will cut really nicely. If you start digging that out now, it's just going to fall apart. I really like that. I mean, like I say, I've said before, hundreds of different ways of making moussaka. So this is our little version that we've made today. Hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. There's thousands of videos up there for you to enjoy. We'll see you soon. Lots of love.